Solo leveling. I was not familiar with your game. Over the past week, I've been browsing through different animes to peep, as you do, and after hearing some things from my circle and online hyping up solo leveling and propping it up, I decided to pick up the anime, and surprisingly, I could not set that shit down. It's extremely rare for me to kind of just binge an anime nowadays. I usually digest it over a couple days or maybe even weeks, but with solo leveling only being about 12 episodes from the time of this recording, I watched the first few episodes and got a taste of what certain people have been hyping up, which led me to continue all the way through to the anime's latest stop, which just so happens to be one of the most entertaining and gas segments I've seen all year. Spoiler alert, as I'll be going into some of the contents that I've just watched, but this anime adaptation of solo leveling is incredibly good, and even though there was a decent amount of hype surrounding it, it met pretty much every expectation I had going into it and then some. Solo leveling is my first dive into manhwa material, which I'm sure is the same for most people and maybe even you watching, as it's one of the most popular manhwa ever created, and it has been a damn good gateway into the medium and what it can offer. The story so far has been fire, and even though I ain't scratched the surface of the story because it's got what, 200 chapters of material ready to be adapted, this first core of the anime has been extremely dope and such a fresh dive into an action fantasy show that has me hooked at every episode. It doesn't set down the most unique framework, and to be honest, everything is quite simple and easy to follow, but the great part is they skip pretty much all the BS and cut directly into the chase. Throughout this entire season, I couldn't name you much scenes that slow down the pace of the show or come off as unnecessary and unneeded. Everything seems to flow pretty damn well. With every episode, there is always something to get excited about and stay locked in for. Literally from jump, we get that scene in the second dungeon throwing you straight into the deep end, and in it we get to see how a guy described as the weakest hunter of all mankind fares against this otherworldly type power. The story is structured to provide straight gas after gas episodes, and through the lens of our main character Jin-Woo, who goes on this journey of improvement, the quality of this anime just continuously improves and gets better and better. As I just said, from jump we are thrown into a dire situation that begins this journey that the MC is about to take, and you quickly realize what the path going forward will somewhat entail, and mainly how focused it will be on Jin-Woo and what he goes through. He obviously has that entire sequence and near-death experience in the dungeon, which resulted in him getting that special ability, turning him into a solo leveler that has the ability to increase his strength, a phenomena that is explicitly stated multiple times to be pretty much impossible to do. This ability, or system I should say, is tailored directly for Sung to finally scale his ability higher than the average civilian, which was sadly Bro's power at the start of this. And Sung, desperate to change for his own well-being, status, and more importantly family, as we know he's got people to take care of, grabs this opportunity by the scruff of it and develops from quite literally the weakest hunter since the establishment of the concept to this insanely powerful person that can continuously improve himself in order to rise to the very peak. Sung is a very interesting main character to follow, and I love how his development, which is obviously the focal point of the show, was handled so far. Nothing is too severely rushed, and if it does seem like it is, the author is doing that purposefully in order to further Sung's growth in the long run. That S-tier domain that contained the elixir of life and damn near almost took Sung's life is the perfect example of this and set the boundary for Sung to break when he's ready for it. His beginning is literally at rock bottom, and this seamless progression to almost a C rank, being able to fight off smaller mobs and even take out some bosses, to then having the ability to comfortably take out massive enemies like this, was really cool to see. Forget abilities and powers, Sung himself as a person starts off as the most lame, auraless character, but through this development of his, bro actually becomes valid and even has moments that got me thinking he's cold. One that immediately comes to mind is when he got scammed by those hunters and has that moment awakening his murderous intent. Sung's entire mindset is in relation to survival and not to back down, so once he was tasked with murdering even his own fellow hunters, he was locked in and it was simply kill or be killed, blitzing everyone there with all the abilities at his disposal, in a way affirming his plight to get stronger and survive, as he's willing to do whatever it takes. The way he's portrayed here is cold as hell, and the different ways in which he grows is so cool to see. Sung definitely isn't no one-dimensional type character, and his progression so far has got me hooked, so I'm excited to see where his character journey goes in the next course, as I can already tell the anime is just scratching the surface of what the author's cooking up. So far far his journey is ticking all the boxes for me to truly be invested in where it goes next, and for sure one of the key factors that just captivate all of us watching is of course the action in Solo Leveling. This is one of the main things going into the story that I had somewhat high expectations of due to all this crazy hype surrounding this show, but holy, it blew me away. This is one of, if not the most popular manhwa, and it's an action fantasy story, so the fights was almost guaranteed to be good, but this right here is honestly one of the most exciting and fun things I've watched from any anime in recent years. Visuals, choreography, directing, everything is top notch in quality from the start all the way through to the end of the cour. The fights from man-to-man combat to Sung fighting these massive monsters was extremely cool, and with something happening every episode, there is always a sick battle that the story is waiting to dish out. I honestly couldn't tell you how much fun I had watching Sung scrap. Anytime there was a major fight or moment thrown at us, you just had to lock in and expect a meal being prepared for you. The action in this show is genuinely that good, and even though there's a hefty amount of it, it never felt boring or dragged out, and this is because as our boy Sung is developing and ascending to a higher level, the stakes, atmosphere, and especially hype of the action follow suit, making every next intense scene better than the last. One of the best fights from this cour, Sung vs that murderous hunter Kang, portrays everything I love about the action within Solo Leveling. Sung is severely challenged as he isn't going up against no scrub hunters like before, and if he loses here, he dies and his fellow hunters die, so the stakes are extremely high, and as Sung's reawakening gets found out, our boy reaches that next level yet again in order to survive this, making him go from not even being able to see his enemy in combat to just completely overwhelming him in every aspect. Extremely dope, and even though he's going up against a stone cold killer, Sung just shows that he's simply built different in comparison. Sick action, cold moment from our boy Sung, and even a look into a deeper problem that Sung might face in the future in relation to this new power. This fight portrayed everything I love about the action in this anime, and even though it's really freaking good, the fight that followed is on a whole nother level. Now that the season is all done and dusted, I can comfortably say that this right here, Sung vs the Knight Commander Igris, easily takes the crown for the best fight in this cour, and I'm sure basically all of us share this opinion. Like, just when you think the season can't peak higher than a specific moment, bam, you get hit with something like this that just blows you away. There is always one part of the season that an animation studio wants to go all out for, and for Solo Leveling, Sung vs Igris was definitely it. The most hype moment of the entire season, and this episode delivered tenfold. Sung squared up to this knight in shining armor, and literally moments later, I was sure this man was cooked. What he was going up against right here is unlike anything he's fought before, except the one enemy that brought Sung to complete defeat. This Knight Commander Igris was a carbon copy of the knights back at the start, and just like then, Sung was completely outclassed here. Speed, weaponry, drip, aura, Sung wasn't touching this enemy in any department, and even though Sung went for his best option of defeating him, this knight voluntarily nerfs himself in order to make this battle a little more fair. Even though I knew he was cooked from the first few exchanges, this was the icing on the cake to tell us how screwed Sung is in this fight, and for the most part, this fight ended up being a complete wash. It was already disrespectful for the knight to nerf himself, but look at this damn combo he's dishing out. This was a straight monster he's fighting, and with the luckiest exchange ever, Sung ends up getting his first clean hit and takes the fight from here in a dope conclusion. This fight was incredible in literally every aspect, and if anything from the next cour is remotely close to what I watched here, we are eating good for the following fights. Igris was such a dope enemy and the perfect final opponent for Sung to end off this season. To be honest, I didn't like how he went out for pretty obvious reasons, but as he's now a part of Sung's group, I'm sure more will be explained about how this fight went down. This fight was easily one of the best things I've seen all year, and with this and the entire season in general, A1 Pictures smashed it and deserve credit for how great this adaptation came out. This first season of Solo Leveling completely surprised me, and I can't wait to see what they got cooking for Cour 2. I was tempted to just carry on with the manhwa, but the anime adaptation seems like an amazing way to experience the story, so I will patiently be waiting for that next cour to drop. Unreal story, and if you enjoyed hearing me talk about Solo Leveling here, leave a like for your boy and subscribe to keep up with the content. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys on my next one. Peace.